Okay, today we're going to be drawing the angle plate in AutoCAD 2022. Again, we're presented with an isometric view in our packet. Basic dimensions of the plate: 4 3/4 wide, 4 3/4 deep, so the base is 4 3/4 square, and the overall height is 2 3/4 total. Then we have 2 ribs with corresponding fillets in the middle for support. Again, this type of thing is used for lining up jigs and fixtures and measurement. So the actual critical surfaces are actually the outside surfaces. What's on the inside would be typically just rough cast and rough machined. All right. Oh, and our plate thickness is 3/4 inch on both sides as well. So let's start with our what you could consider a front view here. Basically, it's the view that's going to give us the most information about the shape, which is kind of this L shape here, and then a side view of our ribs. So let's get started. So again, we're going to draw an L that's 2 3/4 tall by 4 3/4 wide and 3/4 inch in height. And then our rounded corners are 1/4 inch in radius. So let's switch here. So object 2 3/4, 2.75. 4 3/4, 4.75, and then 3/4 inch. We'll just offset that. So offset up, offset in, and we'll draw a line to connect. We'll come in with the trim tool and pull that out, and then we'll fillet the corner. Actually, we'll leave that fillet for the end. It'll actually be easier to not have that yet. So we've got to draw in our rib. Now, the side view of the rib is actually pretty straightforward because we can't see these fillets from this this front view that we're drawing here from this direction. So our rib is 1.5 inches up and then 3.5 inches out from the inside corner here, which is why I didn't do the fillet yet. So we can offset 1.5 inches up, and we said 3.5 inches out from here. Now those are just layout lines, so I'm going to draw in our rib, and we can remove those lines. And then the last thing we can do is do our fillet. Fillet radius, remember we got to set our radius to 1/4 inch. It's already set to that, so we'll hit enter. Just click our 2 lines. I have trim turned off from a previous command, so mine's not trimming away, but yours should automatically. So that is our front view. So let's draw a right side view where this thing is facing us. So again, we're going to start with a rectangle this time, and in fact, I'm just going to use a construction layer to just project some things over here. And the last thing I want to project over is just the top of the rib. And then we'll just start drawing in a line. So we'll draw this line right here. We're just going to offset that over 4 3/4, because again, that's the width of our plate here. And then we'll just start filling in our lines. We've got the bottom of the plate. We've got the kind of the shelf of the plate here. And then the top of our plate. And then basically everything else is just the ribs, and we're going to come in with our trim tool here and just knock the top and the bottom off real quick. Okay, so now we need to position our ribs. So it's going to be really important to come back here and look at left to right, because now we're looking from this direction at our plate here. From left to right, where are our ribs positioned? So looks like we're coming in 1 inch, and then the ribs themselves are 3/8 wide, and then we've got a 2 inch space and another 3/8. And if we do our math on this to get 4 3/4, we realize that what's left is another 1 inch. So they're symmetrical. So we'll just use our offset and just start laying things out. Offset 1 inch. So we'll bring this in 1 inch. from both sides. We'll offset 3/8 of an inch to get our ribs. Okay. Now we're just going to come in with our trim tool, and we'll take the tops off and the bottoms off. We can start to see that coming together now. Now we're going to leave this guideline here. And then the other thing we're going to do is with fillet, we're going to type R for radius, 1/4 inch. And we also want to type T for trim. Right now it's set to no trim, and that's actually exactly what we want, because we're going to fillet this, and we don't want to remove our guideline because we're going to need it for our other fillets too. So it's much better to kind of keep what's here and then manually go in and trim it out later, because otherwise, I'll show you what happens. If I go to trim it, if I leave trim turned on, you see I lose that line, and now I have to redraw a line in order to be able to have something to fillet. And in particular, this line, I need it. So we're just going to take this line and we'll just redraw that. And the top one, we can actually just remove that guideline. Now we can come in with trim, and we'll just trim off these little vertical tails here. And that is essentially our right side view. Some people like to do this as the front view. It's kind of a toss-up as to whether or not this is really the best for the front view. I don't know. So, again, it really depends on what features you're trying to dimension precisely. These are the features that matter on this particular object. So they're not in any way in the right side view, but now they're contained in the front view. So let's do our top-down view now. We're going to do that right here. This is a good opportunity for our reflection technique that I've shown you guys a little bit. So we're going to draw a line up and over from the left side of our right side view. And then at 45 degrees, we're going to draw another line. And we can project this straight up and over. The reason why we're doing that is because it's going to make it a lot easier for us to show where the ribs go, among other things. We're just projecting everything up from our front view here. And then we can project our ribs kind of up and over too. So one up, one over. That doesn't even need to go that far. Do the same thing here, up and over. Obviously be careful of some of our other polar tracking as we do this. There we go. Alright, so let's start filling this view in here. So we'll go to Object, and then first things first, we'll get our rectangle squared away here. One thing, hopefully, you'll notice, I think I misdrew that. Yeah, I just happened to catch the midpoint there, so let's realign that, and we'll pull this line over too. I want everything to be connected up properly here. One thing you'll notice as I draw this top view, I really don't have any numbers I have to put in because of this reflection technique being used. So, and I like to also delete lines as I draw them up top. That's also quite helpful. So, now all that's left is our ribs. What we're going to do is we'll draw in the straight lines of the ribs. We can remove those. And essentially now we can get rid of all of this stuff that's being projected. And now what I can do is copy these fillets. So we'll copy them. We're just going to kind of bring them out here, and we will rotate them. Rotate, and we're just going to rotate them. It really doesn't matter, but 90 degrees. And we're going to move them. And the question becomes, where are we moving? How are we moving them? If we bring that right here, we can move them like so into place. And then come in with trim. Clean that up. And then we can grab these, get another set of these fillets. Same exact operation. Copy. Rotate. This time we'll rotate them in the other direction, so they're set up to be for the bottom. And we can grab them with move. And again, specify base point. If I hover here and hover here, I get a marker and I can find the intersection of those two. So now I can pop them right there. And we can just come in here and trim off the little tails of our ribs. And now we can just move that view into place. And there we have it. Our angle plate is complete. Again, no hidden lines on this one, so again, pretty straightforward, easy to draw.